What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Girl Dating Podcast with Kanaya, my baby sister Kiani, and our father Marcel. And this week we have a very special guest.
She's a teacher, she's a nurse, she's a God-fearing woman. She is one of the key members to the Kerr Village that we have around our family. And today we have Mrs. Yvonne Kerr, okay, or as we call her, Gammy. So let's talking about the differences in him raising the two of us. Were there any fears that you had with him becoming a dad, either the first time or the second time or both?
I didn't have a lot of fears with Poppy as far as raising either one of them because I think he had been around women enough to understand women. And he knew that if he needed advice, I was there for one. He had other people in his circle he could ask, and he knew that whatever it was, he could talk to me about it. I was open. He could approach me on any of it. And again, my job wasn't to raise you two, but just to be in the background to help out when I was needed. And I think your dad realized that. So if there was some question that came up, so be it. But my final decision or advice wasn't a final decision. It was up to him. And he knew that. You're his children. He's the dad. What him and his wife or your mom decided, that was on them. But if they needed advice, they needed some help, they needed some assistance, they knew I was there.
One of the things you kind of spoke about, with Panaya and Kiani in their decision-making and growing up, learning how to make wise choices, learning how to exercise a value system that Ernisha and I have given them, have taught them. Mm-hmm. And I would tell the girls, I don't want to raise children. I want to raise adults. I'll take care of children, but I want to raise adults. Mm-hmm. And I've told them, particularly in the last couple of years, especially with Kanaya going away to school, the test of parenthood is to see how your children react, respond, relate when they're no longer in the house, when they're out on their own.
And that there, I think that's an adage almost any parent should live by. I think part of the problem with today's children is parents are trying to be friends instead of parents. And they're always talking about what my child won't do. My thing is, when that child is out of your sight, you don't know what they're doing. You can say what you think they might not do or hope they might not do, but you don't know what they're doing. So you need to prepare them when they are with you so that whatever values they got are strong enough for them to weather those things that are outside, those things that may turn them the other way or get them turned around so they're unsure. And I think that's part of what's going on with parenting nowadays. You can't teach what you don't know. If you don't have values, you can't teach your children values. If you have not been diligent when they were young, they're not going to listen to you when they get older. So if parenting doesn't start at the beginning, there's no sense trying to parent them when they get older.
Sure. And I look at Kanaya and I see how she has grown and changed and developed so prosperously in the 3 years she's been away to school. I look at Kiani, and Kiani's turned a huge corner just this year now that she's driving herself and being more independent in that regard. I have fun watching my children grow up and to, become the adults that I want them to become, that they want to become. Talk about the gratification you get from seeing your son being a parent and also being a parent to girls and also being a parent to your grandchildren who are, again, blossoming so beautifully.
Okay. The thing about parenting is how well you are a parent is demonstrated about what your children are. Your children are a reflection of you. And I can easily say I am proud of all three of my children, the girls as well as my son, you, because you have all become productive adults. You have citizenship that is beyond reproach. Yeah, you were like any other teenagers, certain things you did, but that's what teenagers do. But you did it once and you didn't do it again because you knew the consequences of your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of what teenagers nowadays is missing, the consequences that come with actions that shouldn't be taken. I mean, you guys, my children have blossomed as a whole. You each have your own story to tell. You have all gone one step above. I always said education is what you have to have. Every one of you has gone on to get a master's in some form. Some of you got 2, some of you got 3. And because of you, that pushed me to be better. I couldn't let you guys further your education. I do my own. So, later in my life, I went back got my master's, as
She sure did. Go ahead, Gammy.
And so you can't tell people what to do. You need to be an example for what they need to do. I've had a successful career. Nursing for me was a passion, not just a career, it was a passion. It's what I wanted to do. And even after retirement, I still do those things, nursing, but in a different respect. I still take care of others. The grandchildren, prime examples.
Yes.
I have found that by continuing my passion through others, it keeps me doing what I think I was meant to do in life. I have no regrets for what I've done in my life, as far as my career, as far as raising my children, as far as raising my grandchildren. I have taken them all on. I've taken on those that are outside of our family line, even to say those are my children as well. The thought of a village, yes, I honestly think that children get better rearing from a village, because the more they are surrounded by people who care for them, by people who love them, by people who nurture them, the more they have to experience life in different aspects. Kanaya being a FAMU student, first person who's gone to HBCU. I know everyone's thinking she was going Big Ten like all of my children went, but she went to HBCU and she loves it. Loves it. She's getting a background that none of the others got, but she still has the experience that the Big Ten parents, aunts, uncles bring to her. So she's got a mixture of it. She's got a mash experience. She's got her aunt in Atlanta, who's also HBCU, who has helped her navigate the HBCU waters, but she's thriving in it. Looking forward to graduation next year and going on for her master's too. So that's that blend of 2 different villages, but look where it's gotten her. She's entrepreneuring in small doses of her own. She's got the experience she's gotten with her Big Ten aunt in her business, being able to see people, work with people outside of her own narrowed experiences. So that has been nothing but a positive thing for her. You look at Kiani, who is now in Atlanta. I mean, doing things she didn't do when she was here in Chicago. Has her own little group of her tea drinking friends, I call them. But having been able to migrate from the North Chicago, strictly urban, to South Atlanta, and now almost being a Southern belle is what I call her, with a tea drinking group. But it shows the adaptability of them having learned, and yet they have still retained their values, retained their morals, and stayed out of trouble, because trouble's everywhere, especially when you talk about teenagers out here, and yet being able to still maintain the respect that they have learned, the values they have gotten, and to be able to stand on their own accord. So that in itself is a blessing. And that comes from good parenting, people who have put their toe to the fire, and them knowing who they are and where they're going and what they want to be in life.
Well, I'm going to tell a quick story, but Gammy definitely loves nursing. And I call her if something's wrong with me and I'm 800 miles away.
Oh,
Like, I almost sawed off my finger early, like 6-7 months ago. And I was like, the first person I'm calling is Gammy, because what do I do?
The flu at the beginning of December, I was in bed, I was like, I need to call my grandma.
Like,
what's happening? I don't know. But listen, if something is happening with the human body, Gammy gonna fix it. That's just, I don't know.
She be knowing the things, okay? But
well, I'll give you a quick anecdote along those lines. When I was in grade school, when some of my classmates would get hurt, I would try to render some kind of assistance. And my company line was, listen, my mom's a nurse. I know what I'm doing.
Right. Like, I know a little bit.
Listen, it's so bad. Like, my friends will be at school and they'll be like, oh, this, and I'm like, my grandma will probably say something like this. Because one thing about it, Gabby gonna teach a thing or two, okay?
Or I've probably seen it. So when my friends be like, I'm like, oh, I might have heard this before.
All right, well, for my last question, so we can head on out of here, as the years are continuing, what are you looking forward to seeing in my dad's parenting and in your grandparenting?
Well, the bottom line is this. The children are all getting older. And at some point, your dad's going to be an empty nester. You're going to be where Kanaya is pretty much now in school in another year or so.
He's excited, but he's
away. Yeah, but again, that's when he's going to really start to realize how much he misses you guys. Because now he's got nobody to really talk to on a regular day basis. He's got nobody he could kid around with. He's got nobody he's got to worry about, hey, where we going today? Because I know you got something on the book planned. You're going to tell me at the last minute, right? So he's going to have more free time on his hands. So now he's got to find ways to fill it. So that's going to be a challenge for him. It'd be less of him advisory-wise, perhaps. And then, he's really going to get to the point where he's going to start missing you guys, because now, again, he's filled so much of his time for you. The older you get, the less time you're with him in that sense. So now there's more time with freedom for him. And now it's like, what do I do with it? For me, I've gotten used to that lesser time because I've gone through it with my children already. So now I'm going through it with the grandchildren. With Naya away from school, I don't have as much time with her, but that doesn't stop us from talking and seeing each other and whatnot when we can. The one that's here, the grandbaby that's here, well, I spend a little bit more time with her because I really don't have anybody else to spend the time with, because she's the only one that's here. Everybody else is away at school. But again, that doesn't mean I'm not there. Mm-hmm. So you guys know that anytime you need me, you just reach out to me. Yeah, I'm finding ways to spend my time now because, I do work part-time, though I'm retired. I travel more, but a lot of times I go see Yanni. I spend a lot of time in Atlanta now, more than I used to. Yeah. But again, just as long as the babies know, just reach out. I'm here. We're a phone call away, a FaceTime away, or whatever. So that's the difference in, what our parenting roles or grandparenting roles become now. So we're not as on site as we used to be.
Yeah. Last question for this episode. And again, I learned a couple of things. I didn't know that you knew how to fish and all that. We've never talked about that all the years that I've been alive.
Bait a worm in a minute.
Yeah, and don't worry, we're not going fishing either. I don't have a picture.
See there. That'd be something for us to do once the girls get older. I come to Atlanta, we can just go fishing.
No, the way I go fishing is I go to the supermarket and say, "Give me that one right there."
You miss the experience. There's some things in life, put it on your bucket list. We're gonna have to do that one time.
But you mentioned a lot about my upbringing, being around you, being around grandma, being around Marclita and Janice. So I had this wealth of experience in living with women. And it has had an obvious impact on my parenthood since I've got two women.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I want to compliment you on in how you have raised the three of us, me and my sisters, but me more so, is just giving that example of what brilliant women should be. And so I brag about my sisters, particularly my older one, because I've only known her all my life. My younger sister, obviously, she's doing extraordinary things, but I didn't have her. I was always chasing Marclita. But you set such a high standard for excellence when it comes to women being intelligent, women being versatile, women being unafraid and unashamed to be great. I had a few role models to whom I could point my daughters to say, hey, if you want someone whom you used to aspire to be like, look at your grandmother, look at your mom, look at your aunts, look at your great grandmother. And so just understanding, the challenges you faced in your parenthood and the impact and the effect you've had on me, and me being able to pass that on to my daughters. I want to salute you because they wouldn't be who they are if you weren't who you are in my life. So I want you to know I love you. I'm so grateful for the years we've had together and how you've watched me pass along the lessons you gave me to my girls. So the final question that I have is, how would you want me to emulate you in grandparenthood?
Look, this life is this, we go from generation to generation. And the bottom line is each generation, we want the ones that we bring in to be better than we were. That's what I want you to do with your grandkids. Give them those tools to make them better in whatever aspects you think they might be lacking. Be that support. If the parent can't do it, then you be there to do it or to help them to get to that point. We want more for them than we had. And I believe I've accomplished that with my children. They've made that extra step from where I was. And I believe your children will do likewise too. They're going to reach some heights that you may have never gotten to, but maybe in a different format. So when their kids come along, you want them to reach even greater heights. Give them that support, that advice, that hands-on, that experience, that tell them about what you've done and how it impacted you. Give them that guidance so that they can make it to that next height. Parents do their best. Don't get me wrong. Good parents do. But sometimes they may have not experienced something that their grandparent did. So just be there. So whether they ask for that advice or whether you volunteer it, you know when the time is right to just volunteer versus wait for them to ask. You'll know. Just be there. Because sometimes just the presence in itself is enough.
Yeah.
People may not do stuff because they know you watching them. Just being there. You ain't got to say nothing. Just be there. And that's what you need to do as a grandparent. Be there.
Right.
And that's what I've tried to do. Be here.
And I'm hopeful I don't have to be there for at least another 6, 7, 8 years.
Look, and that's what I said when I was waiting for grandkids. It's not my decision. It's up to you as a parent when you decide to have kids. But I just want to be ready, and I hope I'm around to be a grandparent. And I've been blessed. Don't get me wrong, I have totally been blessed. But I've enjoyed every day of being a parent, a grandparent as well.
Good.
Well,
Every
Gammy,
day.
thank you for coming on our podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, and What can I say? I appreciate it. You know, I love you all. Always here for you. And if there's anything else I can do, you know how to reach out.
Yes. So thank you for coming on our podcast. We really
Thank you
appreciate
again.
you. Again, as the first one to come, I've had 20 years and they've been 20 amazing years because I probably was with you half the time that I wasn't with my parents.
Yeah.
So
And
now
that's
that
okay.
I'm away, I'm like, it feels so much different, but I still be chauffeuring her around, y'all. Don't get it twisted. But I don't eat her food like Kiana. So
That's okay.
every grandchild has a different job.
Right. Everybody got something different going on, but I'm
Everybody
okay.
do something different. But we really
Right, I'm okay.
coming on our podcast, giving a little insight as one of the pillars of our village. We hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Tune in every week to catch a new episode with two girls and their dad. Thank you.
Bye.
Right.